Hey, what's up guys? It's Marv and welcome back to another Asphalt 9 video and welcome to Greenland. But before we get into some gameplay, I'm showing you right now the garage view for the security interceptor and the Lycan security car. So these were not very detailed in the patch notes, if at all. We saw the picture of the Lycan security car, but we actually didn't know what class it was in. So we do know that the security interceptor is in B class and the Lycan security car is an S class, and it's pretty high up in S class as well. I believe it's ranked higher than the Bugatti Chiron, so it's definitely going to be a good car. Now, we do know that you will not be able to unlock these cars in the upcoming Drive Syndicate, but they did say that eventually you will be able to add them to your garage. If you want to look at these in your game, you have to go to the new Bring the Heat season in the career mode and then just tap on any of the races, but you won't actually see the car in the car selection screen. You have to actually tap on a car and scroll manually until you get to view one of these cars. And so, yeah, it's a bit complicated to see. This is kind of like some of those secret cars that were introduced a lot of updates previously, but they stopped doing it. But I guess, well, now we get some cool views of the security interceptor and the Lycan security car. But let's talk about Greenland itself. Now, I've played all of the available tracks within the Bring the Heat season in career mode, and I have to say I am absolutely loving this track. This is probably the most fun I've had in Asphalt 9 in a very long time. So overall, it's focused on long stretches of fairly straight road. It's great for top speed oriented cars, and again, this is the most fun I've had in a long time because especially of the interactive elements. Now, they did discuss this in the dev chat previously where they said doing certain moves in certain locations will actually change the way that your car interacts with the track, and there are a lot of opportunities for this. So the biggest one is in the lava section in the cave. There are bursts of hot air on jumps that will blow the car upwards if you do a 360. Now, the effect is very small if you don't 360, so it'll still do it, but if you 360, I guess your car acts like a helicopter, which is really funny and awesome. Now, there is one downside to this, which is unfortunately the speed of your ascent does not scale with the speed that your car is going. So if you're driving a very fast car like a Yesko, for example, you won't go upward enough to clear the rocks or the wall in front of you. So hopefully they fix this to where if you're going a lot faster than normal, the speed at which you go upwards will increase. That should fix the track, or you just might have to not 360 if you're in a fast car. I'm hoping that they fix it in the way I suggested because I think that would be more fun. But if they want to say that it's, strategy to where if you have a fast car, you don't 360, then I guess there you go. But just a little tip for you guys there. But that is not all. There are also geysers on other sections of the track, and it seems to just like randomly blow up and outwards. It will actually bump your car upwards, and I think it forces you to do a 360. Like it just puts your car into a 360 mode and forces you upward, which is really awesome. I was not expecting this. I know they said geysers, I think in like some of the teasers, but I didn't expect it to interact with the track. So I guess that they are now adding this element of moving your car upwards, and we'll talk about a different way in a minute, but I'm really hoping that they expand this feature to more upcoming tracks. But doing a 360 over these geysers doesn't necessarily seem to do anything. It just seems like if the geysers are active, it'll make your car do a 360 and you'll get blown upwards. If you are doing a 360 already, you'll just be blown up normally. Finally, as I mentioned, you don't only go vertically within these sort of air gusts, you also get pushed horizontally in a section next to an airport where there is a huge cargo plane that lands. It's actually kind of similar to French Guiana from Asphalt 8, which is cool, but this actually affects your car. Right after it lands, it sort of leaves a wake of air behind it, and it actually shoves your car, I guess, whichever opposite direction you're going. So if you're going with the plane's direction, it shoves you to the left. If you're going against the plane's direction, you get shoved to the right. And you might see me crash as a result of this in this video because I'm not used to it, but it does actually affect your car a lot, and it's very annoying, but also very fun because now you can like time it so you expect it. But it's really strong, which I really like. So it's not just a small gimmick, you actually have to consider it. So it takes some skill to get the timing right and then react to it properly. There's also one more very interesting section of this track. In the more twisty section within the glaciers, you can actually go vertical along the sides of the ice. Now, initially I saw that you could sort of go up almost to the point of the US Midwest where it wasn't quite vertical, but it was like a ramp, sort of like in a skate park. But then I was like, wait, you know what? I might as well just try it. And you could go up very, very far. Now, I have no idea if this will actually be useful because it does seem to slow you down quite a lot if you hit it and then you go up vertically. And even coming back down, it slows you when you hit the ground. So I don't know how people will learn to make this sort of a speed trick. I hope that they do because it would be really fun to see. But yeah, this is just a nice little gimmick so far. And there is one section where you go over ice completely, sort of to go on an alternate route of the normal track. But as far as I'm aware, it doesn't seem to affect handling or grip in any way, but I could be wrong. Let me know if you've noticed that icy section, if that actually changes how the car reacts to the ground. But overall, I think one of the best parts about this track is how wide the roads are. Something that I've been complaining ever since the launch of Asphalt 9 was how thin the tracks were, and it made it so you have to bump into people, especially in multiplayer, and of course that causes knockdowns. I'm really looking forward to playing this track in multiplayer because it seems like finally we will have a track where you're not just constantly bumping into each other and getting knocked down. And of course, since this is a racing game, it wouldn't make sense if there wasn't any curves at all, and I do like the section where you go through the glaciers and it's very windy. It's sort of enough to where top speed cars can at least deal with it because you have that section of track where you can go up vertically along the glacier, but of course it's a sharp enough turn to where if you're in something like a Huracan or a Corvette, you do have a bit of an advantage to catch up to the people who were using top speed cars along the straightaway. Now there are some negatives I want to point out, and I'm not going to do this just because I want to hate on this track. I'm mentioning this because I think if they improved this track in, the way that I'm about to mention, I think this could be the perfect Asphalt 9 track. Firstly, there aren't a lot of ambient sounds on the track, and I know this doesn't seem that important, but honestly, when I'm playing the game, I want to be as immersed as possible, and there's a lot of things going on this track that just don't make any noise at all. So hopefully they can add in different environmental sounds to just make the track feel more alive, because if you play without music like I do so that I can record and upload without getting copyright strike, it does get very boring because you just don't hear anything as you're driving. It makes the track feel a bit dead, so I hope that they could add more sounds, more environmental sounds like maybe ice cracking or like the ships, and different things like adding deeper sound effects for the geysers and for the winds, and maybe even some lava bubbles or something like that. I just hope that they flesh out the sounds of the environment in this track because I think it would make it feel a lot more alive. Secondly, there are some barrel roll ramps that are placed too close to the wall, so if you go up on them, if you're trying to get to it, you'll just go out of bounds, but also they aren't steep enough or aren't curved enough, I guess, so you don't actually do a full barrel roll, you just land on your back. And this has been a common problem I've seen with a lot of recent Asphalt 9 tracks. Hopefully they are working on a fix to the physics for these ramps, because honestly, it's just super frustrating because you know that it's just down to luck whether or not you actually complete a barrel roll or you just get landed on your back like a stranded turtle. Just for reference for what I'm talking about, there are a lot of these sort of half barrel roll ramps, especially in Auckland, where I just sort of avoid them because I'd rather not take the chance of crashing even though it wasn't my fault. But that's really the only issues I see with this track so far. Honestly, I think outside of some of the launch maps, this is probably the best track we've gotten so far in Asphalt 9. I'm really enjoying it. I love the interactive elements. Hopefully they bring more of those features to future tracks in Asphalt 9, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing this in multiplayer. Please let me know your thoughts on the new Greenland track in Asphalt 9 in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys later.